Thank you, first of all, for coming. Really, I'm glad that so many people are here, and I can tell you what I do. Most people don't know what geriatric care managers are. There's only 3 of us in the whole county. The profession is about 30 years old. There's a lot more down in South Broward, but not up here, so most people don't know what we do. First of all, I am a registered nurse for over 35 years. I'm a certified case manager, a certified care manager, a dementia care specialist as well. So I started my practice about 2007. And at the same time I started the practice, I bought a lot up here. And what happened was real estate tanked. So I ended up getting stuck down there. I started the business down there, and it took me 7 years to get up here. So I've been here only a year, and I absolutely love it. It's the best move I ever made in my life, and really, really happy that I'm here. So going on to geriatric care management. There's only a handful of courses that you can take. There's one actually postgraduate course in University of Florida. And most care managers do have master's degrees. For the most part, they're either nurses or social workers. They're not going to be 25 years old. They're going to be older, more experienced. If I'm looking to hire somebody, they're going to have at least minimum 10 years of experience. Mostly home health, case management type of experience. So what we do is, to make a long story short, we kind of replace a family member. So if you can picture yourself having a mother or father in Ohio or Minnesota or wherever, and they're declining, they're not managing well, and you're sitting here wondering, well, are they taking their medications? What does the doctor say? You're not getting information because they can't tell you what happened at the doctor visit. They have home health aides in the home, and you're really worried, but they don't want to move to Florida, and you can't move up there either. So what you can do is, you can go to the website of the National Association. You can look up a care manager anywhere in the country. So a care manager goes in, we go in, we do an assessment. We look at the whole entire picture, and then we communicate with the family. So the families hire us to look after the seniors here for them.
That's huge.
So our assessments will include mental screenings, a mini-mental, looking for deficits, depression screenings, fall risk screenings, nutrition screenings, home safety evaluations. Do they need any medical equipment? Do they need home modifications? We look at their activities of daily living. How much help do they need with bathing, dressing, feeding, instrumental activities such as housekeeping, shopping, transportation. So we look at each one of those things and we decide how much help they need, and then we can give them options for finding that help. We look at their social needs. We look at religious needs. Some people are very religious. Okay? We look at their financial situation. Okay, well, you need care, but what do you have to pay for that care? Are you spending your assets down? Do you need to start planning for Medicaid? Is there a spouse involved that you need to protect some assets for? What are the resources out there? We do a legal assessment, basically for everybody here. Do you have a living will, power of attorney, and health care surrogate? And if you're 18 years old, you need to have one. Trust me. Remember Terry Schiavo? Well, Terry Schiavo had one. Would have saved a lot of cost and aggravation. So keep that in mind. That's our legal assessment. So we very often refer to elder law attorneys. We refer probably to everybody in this room at one time or other for something. So we need to know all the resources here. So we do our assessment. We give the families a written plan of care, written in plain English that they can understand. And then we talk to them about what the options are and how they want to move forward. So if the families are here, we can, they usually take the information and they go with it. Big question a lot of times they might have is, well, my mother's got Alzheimer's. Should I keep her home or should I put her in an assisted living? What's a locked unit? So we can help them make those kind of decisions so it's the best decision for them. I had a situation once where the parents were here, the father went into the hospital, and all of a sudden the father was going to come home and the mother couldn't take care of him. So 3 children came in from out of state, and they all decided, well, Dad's going into an assisted living. And they didn't want to hire us, so they went ahead and they did that. And what would happen was that the father was miserable because he's in an assisted living where he doesn't want to be. The mother's miserable because she can't even drive to get there to visit him. And the children realized that the assisted living wasn't providing the care that they thought they were going to get. So it was just a mistake that could have been avoided. So that's just an example of what we do. For ongoing care, if there's no family here, very often we stay in on the case. We go to doctor visits. We make sure that all the doctor's orders are followed through. Each visit we're communicating with the family so they know everything that's going on. If there's aides in the home, we want to make sure the aides are doing what they're supposed to do, that they're a right fit. Some aides are not a good fit. It could be personality issues. And we're just constantly monitoring the situation. If somebody's declining, we can get Medicare home health in there, whatever's needed. If somebody's grieving and they're not adjusting well, we'll get maybe a social worker or maybe psychological help for them if they need it. Support groups, whatever they need. So that kind of explains what we do. We do have to have knowledge of the healthcare system, navigating the healthcare system, all the different types of insurance, PPOs, straight Medicare, supplements, long-term care insurance. We need to know about community resources, and we do a lot of mediation also in our work. You know, because many times you're dealing with more than one child, and the families don't always agree on what's going on. So as a result, I became a mediator, and I've specialized in elder care mediation, which is not so much legal issues, but mediating family disputes for the most part. So if you have two children that want mom in an ALF and one that wants to keep her home, we can mediate that situation and we can work it out so that everybody can find a solution that's acceptable. So that's the mediation part of it. So who's referred to us? If you know somebody that's not managing well, maybe they're getting confused, maybe they're getting dementia, or maybe they're not taking their medications properly. So anybody like that, I would refer to the family. The families can call us, and we can tell them what we do. If somebody can't afford our services, I will at least send them in the right direction so that they know where to get some help. Because there's some resources out there as well. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
I got two.
Uh-huh.
Is this kind of like hospice, or it's different?
No, hospice is dealing with the end of life. So hospice comes in basically when you don't want aggressive care.
But you can work with hospice also, right?
Most of the time, we'll get hospice in there earlier rather than later. A lot of doctors wait till the last 2 weeks. We tended to get them in earlier. We'll start talking to the family because we see how good hospice is, and we see how much better the families manage when hospice is in there.
How many's on your staff here?
Right now, it's myself and there's one RN. There's a lot of education to be done in the area. So for the care management, that's all that's needed right now. The home care is separate. That's First Call Home Care is a home health agency that's different, that provides home health aides. But for the care management, I can tell you that a full caseload is generally 15 clients. I tend to find that a full caseload for my nurses is going to be about 7 or 8 clients. That gives you an idea.
Is this something that's paid for through insurance?
It's covered by long-term care insurance. If
Okay.
it's in the policy, I can look at any policy for you and let you know what's in there. They don't call it geriatric care management. It's apart from the home health benefit, and they'll use terms like care advisory services, care consultant, different terminology. But I can tell you the John Hancock policies now will specify the National Association of Professional Geriatric Care Managers as the gold standard, and they want you to be a member. Which brings me to the next thing. So you'll see here, and I'd like everybody to take one, because the National Association is going through a rebranding. And May 1st, they announced a name change. So we're not geriatric care managers anymore. We're called Aging Life Care Professionals, which is a little bit better for people to understand. So what is aging life care? This talks about what I just talked about. You can look at the Aging Life Care Association. We're going to be Aging Life Care Managers, Aging Life Care Professionals, and it's going to be a trademark name. So if you hear about a lot of people coming out of the woodwork called Certified Senior Advisors, Patient Advocates, Nurse Navigators, Case Managers, this is really going to set us apart as a separate profession because there's a lot of confusion out there and people don't know what they're getting when they hear one of those certifications. So we can explain that to you as well. So, any other questions?
Hey Doris, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
How would you proceed if you have family from out of state, but you have the parents are resistant to opening themselves up for a assessment?
Okay.
What happens in that situation?
And most of the time that does happen because most of the time, and that's why seniors don't hire us. Most of the time they think, well, I don't need help, or they think we're going to take away their independence, but we're doing just the opposite. We're keeping them independent. We want them to be independent. Maybe they don't want to admit they need help. Maybe they don't want to pay for the help. So most of the time I find that the seniors will do that because their children want them to. And this way it kind of saves face for them, and they're doing it really for the children. And they really do appreciate having the help there. There's somebody that they can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we're the only place you're going to get that. So if there's an emergency, we're going to respond. If there's a question, we're going to respond.
Yeah, in all appearances, it seems that your business, of course, is there as an advocate for seniors.
Yes.
Do you also extend that to being a watchdog, basically, towards anyone that would take advantage of seniors, or
Yes.
or you know, because that's a huge problem,
Yeah,
of course,
and
to stand for.
to be honest with you, this is the reason why I got into the business, because I saw so much of it, and you know, I can tell you even in this last year what I've seen. Some situations are very sad because I get frustrated. I can't do anything about it. Sometimes my only resource is call Department of Children and Families, and then, you know, sometimes you get somebody good that will do a good job, and then sometimes they just don't. It's very, very frustrating. But I can tell you that the clients that I have ongoing are protected. Because if I see something happening, for instance, had an aide one time, was in a case for 2 years. She was great. She was a wonderful aide. All of a sudden I found out one day the client she took care of had dementia, and she called the nephew, and she said, oh, Jim wants to take me to the attorney. He wants to put me in his will. Well, that was the end of her. It's like, where, you know, I know he didn't have the capability of doing that. I mean, so that's just an example, but that's one of the big, big things that I do. And if I become aware of a situation, when I first got here, I got a referral for a client whose wife just died, and he had an aide in there 24 hours because he was just in the hospital. And I said, well, now you need a new power of attorney. Who would that be? And he turned around and he said, oh, the aide. He only knew the aide 3 weeks. So even though he never became a client of mine, it was just something I really couldn't walk away from. So I ended up contacting an attorney, getting a guardian, and contacting a guardian that I knew was a good guardian, and then evidently he ended up under her care, which was great. So I'll do whatever I can. Yeah. When they get older, a lot of times they get very, very vulnerable, and it's really scary sometimes when you go in there and you see how vulnerable they are.
Do you go through and check out different nursing homes and assisted living facilities yourself, so you kind of have an idea of
Yes.
the network of ones that are acceptable?
Yes, and many times I'll give people choices of assisted living facilities. If I don't get any kickback from that, you'll see senior placement agencies, which are very good because they don't charge people to take people out to look at assisted living, but they get paid from the assisted livings usually. So that's how they make their money. So they're going to take people to the places that they know that they're contracted with, which actually, it's not a bad thing for people that can't afford or don't know anything else. So there is definitely a really good place for them in there. It's just that I don't get anything back from it. So it's a little bit different. So I'm always looking. Many times I'll refer to placement agencies too, people that want that.
And then we have some honored guests, some elected officials from Edgewater, County Councilwoman Christine Powers and County Councilman Dean Blasey. And if I'd like to wave the floor over to y'all if you'd like to say a few words on behalf of the city of
There you
Edgewater.
go. Oh, my parents have passed on, actually. So,
Oh, okay, all right. Well, mine are '76 and '79, so I'm in that, and I've dealt with, my mom's mother lived down here while I lived down here, and my parents were 1,300 miles away, so we went through a little bit of this where I had to, you know, and we were just doing it on our own, so I'm very much excited to hear about you. I think that in theory, there should be more people like you, because obviously there's a need for your service, and the fact that there are only 3 in Volusia County,
Yes.
which means, you know, maybe
There's-
100 people taken care of.
Well, I could tell you down in the Tri-County area, there's 85 in the southeast unit down there. So that just shows you, it's very well known down there, up here not so much, but we'll get there.
Yes, we put them out to pasture up here, I think. So I'm excited that you're here, and I'm glad that you're thrilled to be here too. That was
Yes,
nice to hear.
I love it here.
And welcome to Edgewater.
Thank you.
And just every time I have the opportunity to come to a ribbon cutting for a business that's opened up in our city, it excites me more and more, because the more businesses we have, of course, the more diversity of income, the more, you know, and it becomes a good wheel, you know, turning, and we love to see smart growth in Edgewater. Absolutely honored by the fact that you've chosen Edgewater as being the city where you're going to conduct business. This is a very, very honorable, outstanding business concept or business model, and looking forward to continuing to help service you, at least within the city capacity. Again, it is no secret that Edgewater has a huge senior population, and I'm confident that the seniors of our city will greatly benefit from your services.